Hello everyone, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis with a news and rumours video. There has been a heck of a lot of rumour going on since I last did a news and rumours video. We've had 2 end times books, 2 codices and another one on the way, so let's jump right into it. Before we get into the big news and the big rumour coming up in what I'm going to term the red edition of news and rumours, I want to just cover the most recent events before these. So we've had 2 end times books and a new codex in the interim between my last news and rumours video and now. So we've had End Times Thanquol, which saw the Skaven Unleashed and the Fall of the Lizard Men. Spoilers, my bad. And of course End Times Archaon, which if you don't know the ending already, then you may want to click the link in the description for the final ending. If not, avoid that video because spoilers. Some new models came out. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about one of them later, that being the Bloodthirster, but we saw a new Khorne and Skaven Elite Infantry, the new Vermin Lord kit that I talked about last time, and a new model for Thanquol and Bone Ripper as well, which was really, really good. And we also saw the other codex I talked about during the news and rumours that I did last time, which was Codex Harlequins. Now, I wasn't sure how Codex Harlequins would function, but it appears it has made a proper go of a codex with Skyweaver jet bikes, a good transport/gunship, and the Harlequin troops as well. We have the Solitaire, the Shadow Seer, the Death Jester. It just looks like it's a good, solid codex. I don't know how well it survives alone, because while most of these codexes that are sub-factions don't survive very well on their own and will need to be allied in, we'll see what happens with the 2 new codices that I'm going to talk about in a minute. But I think the Harlequins will be best suited as an ally to Eldar or to Dark Eldar. I'm pretty sure people haven't done bat reps just yet, but I think Scarredcast will be having some up pretty soon, and they'll be really ones to look forward to, because I really look forward to seeing how the Harlequins will behave. Anyway, with that said, on to the big news, that being news of Khorne and news of Mars. The big news of the moment revolves around Khorne. So after End Times Archaon came out, there was a Bloodthirster kit released, which made 3 Bloodthirster variants. The Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury, which is basically a carbon copy of the Bloodthirster we're used to from Codex Chaos Demons and things like that. The Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, which had a much more powerful weapon, and the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, which is more powerful again in some way and is more expensive, although all of their stat lines appear to be identical. Now, after they came out for Fantasy, as with all demon kits, they are dual purpose. They have round bases and square bases, meaning that the Bloodthirster kit is now available to use within 40k. But you also get access to all these new Bloodthirster variants in a new codex called Khorne Daemonkin, which has come out in the last couple of days and is being reviewed in full on Mini Wargamer J's channel. I'll put a link in the description to episode 1 if you wish to go and have a look. So this codex basically takes pretty much everything Khorne in both Codex Chaos Demons and Codex Chaos Space Marines and puts them together. So you have units like Bloodletters, Blood Crushers, Flesh Hounds, and the like, as well as units like Khorne Berserkers, and actually there are no other Khorne units in that codex. Well, not uniquely anyway, but a lot of units that can be marked with Khorne are also in the codex. So you have units like Chaos Marines, Cultists, Chaos Lords, Bikers, and Possessed, for example. There are a lot of units also missing, so every unit that is devoted to another god is obviously not here. So no Thousand Suns, no Plague Marines, no Demonettes and such. And there are also no Mutilators, no Obliterators, no Havocs. But there are a few heavy vehicles such as Defilers, Soul Grinders, Mauler Fiends, Forge Fiends, and Helldrakes and Hellbrutes, all present within this codex. It's quite a weird mashup of stuff. A few things are missing that you would expect to be there, though. For example, Karanak, Khorne's right-hand dog, so to speak, is not here, the 3-headed Fleshhound dog. Kharn the Betrayer is not here, which has caused quite an outcry on some forums that I've been looking at. And Skarbrand is also not here, despite, well, actually, I can understand why Skarbrand isn't there, because he was exiled by Khorne, but you would expect Kharn to be in there. But GW have not put him in, and we just have to live with that. Maybe it's a suggestion that Kharn will be getting a new model down the line for the next Chaos Codex, whenever that is. But anyway, Kharn, Karanak, and Skarbrand are not in the Codex, but Skulltaker is. He's the only named character in the Codex. Now, a lot of the things haven't really changed from codex to codex. So the only thing that's really happened is anything that wasn't already now has the mark of Khorne as standard. So it looks like all your chaos units have got more expensive, whereas in fact you've just paid for the mark of Khorne automatically, which is something that people may get confused by. There is a new detachment for this codex called the Blood Host detachment, which is very similar to the Daemonkin detachment in that you have core detachment of formations in order to unlock other formations, making it basically a formation of formations. I'm not going to go over all the formations, but the core formation that you are required to take is called a Slaughter Cult, which consists of 1 Chaos Lord, Demon Prince, Herald or Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury, which is really, really solid. 2 to 8 squads of Marines, Berserkers or Bloodletters in any combination. 1 to 4 squads of Possessed, 0 to 2 Spawn, and 0 to 2 Cultist squads. Now, the only thing that's probably going to annoy people is the fact they have to take Possessed, because a lot of people don't like Possessed. I don't believe they've changed. I'd have to go and do a bit more digging to see if they've changed. But it fits the theme, and kind of like with Tombblades and Daemonkin, it's the tax on getting the buffs that this detachment will bring. Because if you run Blood Host, you gain an extra Blood Tithe point every turn. Blood Tithe is a unique mechanic for this codex. So every unit pretty much that I'm aware of has a rule called Blood for the Blood God, allowing them to generate something called Blood Tithe points. You gain a Blood Tithe point every time a unit with this rule destroys a unit or is destroyed, or if a character with this unit is killed in a challenge or kills in a challenge, because Khorne cares not from whence the blood flows and all that. So it basically stacks up these points that you can then spend to do some really scary things. Blood Tithe points are spent at the start of the Khorne Daemonkin player's turn. You can have a maximum number of 8 points at any one time and are spent for rewards. Blood Tithe points can be rebuilt, but if you do not spend the maximum amount of points that you can, any remaining points are lost. So if you have 5 points and spend 3, you don't have 2 spare, you lose those 2 as well. So what are these results and what do they do? So if you only have 1 point and you spend it, you give all units with this special rule Adamantium Will. So every unit with Blood for the Blood God gains Adamantium Will, which is kind of nice against armies like Grey Knights or Eldar. If you have 2 points and you spend 2 points, friendly units with this rule gain Furious Charge and Rage for this turn, meaning that they will hit incredibly hard with +2 attack and +1 strength each. Unstoppable Ferocity for 3 points. All friendly units with Blood for the Blood God have Feel No Pain. Yep, everybody gets a 5+ Feel No Pain save. Ouch. Apocalyptic Fury for 4 points. Friendly units with this rule have +1 attack, which means they're going to hit maybe not as hard, but if they're already in melee, so you might use Insatiable Bloodlust to do a load of damage, pick up 4 points for your next time round, and give yourself +1 attack for this turn, and I believe it carries into your opponent's turn as well. On a 5, this is where it gets really fun. Demon Tide. 5 Fleshhounds or 8 Bloodletters are summoned within 12 inches of any friendly Blood for the Blood God unit. So you basically get off the summoning power for free, which is really, really good. 6 Harbingers of Blood and Brass. So if you save up 6 points and spend it, you summon either 3 Blood Crushers or 1 Skull Cannon within 12 inches of any Blood for the Blood God unit. Holy crap. So now you're bringing in Blood Crushers for free. 7 Dark Apotheosis. Pick a non-demon friendly character with Blood for the Blood God and make a leadership test. So you will obviously need a high leadership character such as an Aspiring Champion or a Chaos Lord, but you can't do it on, say, a Demonic Herald. If you pass the test, you replace your model with a Demon Prince with Warpforged Armor. Warpforged Armor is, I believe, one of the relics, and it gives out a 3+ armor save, Eternal Warrior, and Feel No Pain, which is very, very useful. And I think it will probably be the best relic in the book. If you do fail the test, though, there is a drawback. A spawn is summoned instead. So I think you basically turn your character into a spawn, which kind of sucks and makes it slightly risky to do on Lords, although they are leadership 10. And 8, if you save all 8 points, Fury Unbound. Oh, sorry. Going back a sec. The Demon Prince also retains any relics and warlord traits that the model might have had when he died. So if your guy was the warlord with a special weapon, you keep that relic weapon and you keep your warlord trait. So 8, Fury Unbound. Pick a non-demon friendly character with Blood for the Blood God, of course, and make a leadership test as before. If you fail, remove the model as a casualty. It dies, straight up, no saves. So it is a risk, but if you pass your leadership test, you replace the model with a Bloodthirst of Unfettered Fury who retains that Warlord trait. So you can just summon a Bloodthirster for free, which is terrifying. In terms of Warlord traits, so you can get reroll failed charges, Zealot, +1 attack, bonus Blood Tithe points for challenges, preferred enemy, or auto passing the leadership test for the Dark Apotheosis or Fury Unbound summoning Demon Princes and Bloodthirsters, which is really, really good. And if you can keep +1 attack or preferred enemy onto a Demon Prince or Bloodthirster, that's really quite scary. The Mark of Khorne and Khorne Demon have changed slightly, so Khorne Demons no longer have demonic instability by looks of it. They are Fearless, with Demon of course, Furious Charge, Hatred of Demons of Slaanesh, and Chariots with Khorne Demon have a Hammer of Wrath at strength 7, meaning that Skull Cannons and Blood Chariots, or Blood Thrones or whatever they're called, hit very, very hard. And the Mark of Khorne gives out counterattack and rage, meaning that if you get charged, you're going to get bonus attacks, and if you do charge, you're going to hit really hard. So you basically have got the, what's it called now? Insatiable Bloodlust on half your units already, but this gives it to everybody, which is really, really good. The relics, I don't know their points cost, but they're freaking terrifying. So, for example, there is a sword that generates more Blood Tithe points when it kills things, and there is an axe that basically summons a Bloodthirster which kills itself slowly when the owner dies. So basically you summon an Unfettered Fury Bloodthirster which loses D3 wounds per turn, but you do get invols against it. So the combo that I've heard is you have a character with this axe who then transforms himself into a Demon Prince, meaning that he retains the axe. The Demon Prince is then killed, summoning a Bloodthirster, which goes on to wreak even more havoc. Or you could do it that he turns into a Bloodthirster and is counted as removed as a casualty, meaning another Bloodthirster is summoned. So there are some really scary, sick combinations that I'm really, really looking forward to seeing. There is a Lord of War also in this codex, so the Lord of Skulls is in here if you want to use it. It still costs 888 points and apparently is identical to before. So that is Khorne Daemonkin. Now, when I first had a look at this, I thought this was going to be a really fun codex. I thought it would be a great combo codex to go with Chaos Marines, but it doesn't seem to have been that popular. Looking at Tactica especially, people are not that bowled over. A lot of people complain about the absence of Khorne and the absence of Karanak, which is disappointing, I know, but I guess we just have to deal with it. And they're just saying it's not as good. And I think one thing it's lacking is getting into melee quickly. Because all you've got are rhinos and a few fast units, like bikers, raptors, and warp talons, to get your units into melee. Flying monstrous creatures die really quickly. And you really will be relying on your transport vehicles to get into melee. Or you're going to have to play a really close range shooting with lots of tactical marines to then summon your demons a lot closer. So that is the Khorne Daemonkin. Now onto the Skitarii. So for part 2 of this red edition of News and Rumours, we will be taking a look at the upcoming Adeptus Mechanicus Skitarii Codex. Now, this was first hinted at in a White Dwarf a couple of weeks ago, in which the next time section was written in binary, which is the coding used to write all computers. And when put into a binary translator, the message came out to read All Hail Mars. Now, if you combine binary code with Mars and what we know about the 40k lore, the obvious conclusion to arrive at is Mechanicus. So there are a couple of kits that have been leaked. They may have actually come out this week or this weekend as I'm recording. And they are the Skitarii Vanguard, which can also be built as Skitarii Rangers, and the Sidonian Dragoon, which can also be built as an Iron Strider Ballesterius. So the Vanguard / Rangers kit is a 10-man kit, which should be on screen right about now. And the Vanguard would be your assault troopers, so to speak. They're your close assault, sort of your bog standard dudes. They're armed with, I believe they're called radium weapons, which have a rad poisoning rule that means that if you roll a 6 to wound, you cause an additional wound. It's not every unsaved 6 to wound doubles. You just take 2 saves instead of 1 if you roll a 6 to wound. I think they're only strength 3 AP 5, but they can put out a few shots, so I expect these to be quite dangerous, particularly against low armor save armies like Tau and Imperial Guard. Against Marines, I mean, extra saves is extra saves, I can't really complain about it. And they cost, I believe, 9 points a model. They have a lot of special rules to go with them, something called Doctrine Imperatives, or Doctrina Imperatives. We have no idea what this rule is yet. We have absolutely no idea what it is, what it means, or what it does. But they also have Feel No Pain 6+, Move Through Cover, and Relentless, I think. As soon as this image loads. Yeah, no, they don't have Move Through Cover, I'm sorry. That is only the Rangers. But they also have a rule called Rad Saturation. When a unit is locked in combat with one or more models with this rule, all models in that unit subtract -1 from their toughness, meaning that the Strength 3 Skitarii actually have a chance to kill Space Marines in melee. I mean, they don't have melee weapons, but their Vanguard Alpha, who has 2 wounds and 2 attacks and high leadership, might actually be able to do some damage with some of the melee weapons available to him. He can even take, this Sergeant dude can take relics. So obviously these alphas, a free upgrade Sergeant that you get, can take relics, which is really, really quite cool. He can also take equipment called Omnispexes and Enhanced Data Tethers. I've got no idea what they do. I think the Omnispex is something to do with cover saves, but the Enhanced Data Tether had something to do with the Doctrina Imperatives, so I've got no idea what that's quite going to mean. You can have up to 3 special weapons in the squad, 2 if you have less than 10, and 3 if you have 10. But you have to replace your radium carbines in order to do this, obviously. And it says here that they are feared throughout the Imperium, for they use the baleful energies of the Forge World as their weapons. It's really quite scary what these guys can do. I mean, I don't know how good they are, because, I mean, BS 4, 4+ save, Initiative 3, Leadership 8, they look like Carapace Armor veterans on paper. Yeah, they're Carapace Armor veterans on paper, but with a Feel No Pain of 6+, which is always nice, and this Doctrina thing, whatever that ends up doing. The Skitarii Rangers are 2 points extra, so they're 11 points each, and have the exact same stat line. But instead of being armed with the radium carbines, they're armed with galvanic rifles, which are 30-inch range, strength 4 AP4, assault 2, precision shot. And they also have relentless for some reason, unless some of the special weapons are like rapid fire, which is nice. And they have move through cover, which is useful. It also looks like one of them, I'm hoping to show you the image right now, has a custom base, which is sort of able to stand his rifle on the base. It's a lot longer base. It looks really, really cool. It looks like a biker base. It could be a custom conversion, but it looks too cleverly done to be what we might call a kit bash, especially in an official codex image. I doubt they'd use an actual kit bash unless they had to. So, same rules regarding upgrades. And again, your Ranger Alpha, who has 2 wounds, may take a relic. So those guys are your troops, by the looks of it, for this Skitarii Codex. And then you come to these Walker vehicle thingies. So the Iron Strider Ballistari is a heavy support for 55 points. That is Ballistic Skill 4 with 11 all-round armor, a couple of hull points, and it's open-topped. So it's pretty easy to kill by the looks of it. You can take up to 6 in a squad, which is nice, and they're armed with a Cognis autocannon, which is twin-linked. So this Cognis means that when they're snap firing, they count as Ballistic Skill 2, including Overwatch, meaning they can run around like crazy and actually do quite a bit of damage. And they can do the same by upgrading to have a twin-link Cognis las cannon for 20 points, meaning that if they get charged, they could actually put some hurt down. They have Crusader for some reason. I think this is to do with re-rolling runs or something. Doctrine Imperatives again, precision shots, which is really nice, and something called, I can't quite read it, it's too small. Dune Strider, that's it, Dune Strider, which I believe is to be explained in a moment. But they're your heavy fire unit for the Skitarii. That's the weapons list, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Okay, it's having trouble finding me the image I want, which is of the Sidonian Dragoon, which looks like some sort of combat walker. And I really think this is quite a cool build, because it's a little bit cheaper than the Ballistarius, or whatever it's called, and I believe its stat line is identical. It's not letting me load the image for some dumb reason, but it's armed with something called a Taser Lance, which has 2 profiles depending on whether you're charging or not. So if you're charging, you have +3 strength, AP nothing, and taser. Now taser works in exactly the same way as Tesla, but for melee. So you roll a 6 to hit, you get 2 additional hits, and you also get double initiative on the turn you charge. And when you're not charging, you just have +2 strength and taser, which is a really nice profile for a melee weapon. They're both AP nothing though, unfortunately. And I don't think they can take much else, or if they do, I can't open the image to have a look. I've got a weapons list in front of me, and there are some really cool weapons in here. So the arc weapons, which are basically +2 strength haywire bolters and bolt pistols. Phosphor weapons, which reduce cover saves and allow you to reroll charges against units hit by them. And they're strength 5 AP 4, so they might do some damage. The plasma caliber, which is a shorter ranged plasma gun, 18-inch range, but with 3 shots. Oh, I think that's... no, never mind. Transuranic arquebus, which is a sniper with armor bane and AP 3. Now, this confuses me. An armor bane sniper? Snipers are strength 3 against vehicles, unless the rules have changed. So the best they're going to do, realistically, is pen armor 10 or glance armor 11. Your average, you're only glancing armor 10, which is really bad, and you're AP 3, so even if you do get a pen, you're not going to blow anything up. There's an arc maul, which is basically a haywire power maul, and costs 20 points, which is just a little bit more than a power sword. And yeah, that's the main bits. Yeah, the Omnispecs I mentioned earlier is cover saves against an Omnispecs or a unit with an Omnispecs is -1, which is nice. And that will cost you 10 points, as I said. So I think with this Skitarii, one of the problems they might have, obviously we haven't got a full picture yet, is they haven't got much by way of heavy armor. They've just got armor 11 walkers, but their weapons could be really, really useful. Now, I am told, well, I hear that this Skitarii book is a Militarum Tempestas-esque book, so it's a supplement to a full Adeptus Mechanicus codex, which is just around the corner. So if you think back to my Militarum Tempestas and Astra Militarum review, you might consider them, when you think about the Skitarii, as an ally for your AdMech rather than a standalone force, kind of like your Tempestus. So we don't really have anything on this Mechanicus codex, or at least I don't have it to hand, so I'm not quite sure what that's going to entail, but I get the feeling it's going to be awesome. I'm just really hyped for AdMech. I've always wanted an Adeptus Mechanicus army, and I'm really looking forward to it. So that concludes the Skitarii. Now, there's one more thing, just one more thing I want to talk about very, very briefly, and that is the idea of another box set coming out later this year for 40k. There are 2 rumors on the horizon for a box game, and they are kind of conflicting. One is sort of a Dark Angels v Chaos, sort of like a Dark Vengeance reboot. But the second one is Space Marines believed to be Raven Guard versus Tau, which would be really, really awesome, because Raven Guard are one of those chapters that haven't really had much light on them recently. Because when was the last time you saw Raven Guard do anything, really? It's been Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Space Wolves, Dark Angels. Basically, everybody else seems to be getting some sort of turn in the spotlight. When the Storm Talon came out, White Scars were featured. The last time I saw Raven Guard anywhere that wasn't just a piece of artwork was the Hunt for Voldorius book, way, way back, and even that was a White Scars book at heart. So Raven Guard would be really good to see. Will it be another supplemental type thing? I'm not sure. Sort of like Khorne Daemonkin standalone, or will it be just like Sentinels of Terror, a supplement to the Codex? We shall see. And when I get a bit more information and I've got enough info to make a full video, I will do another news and rumours down the line. So that is you brought up to date with all your news and rumour for March, April 2015. So there you have it. All the news and rumour for the last couple of months. Be sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and leave any comments below about what you think to the new end times, the new codices, and what you reckon to the upcoming Mechanicus models, and what your hopes and thoughts are for the new releases. I know I am really looking forward to trying them out if I can get some. So thank you for watching. My name is Michael for Tactica Imperialis, and I will see you again.